Hello, how you doing? This is Chris Black, and this is the issue of. I guess I wanted to say that this is the 2025 inaugural edition of the Eclipse Spotlight podcast. That's Eclipse Spotlight. For the company Eclipse.biz. My website www.eclipse.biz. The YouTube page Eclipse Spotlight. YouTube page C5 Black 25. Instagram C5 Black 25. That's all the social media. All the social media is C5 Black 25. All right, and what is Eclipse Spotlight all about? Eclipse Spotlight is all about highlighting the things that I find interesting, or stories that I think, are timely and relevant, meaning they're relevant to what's going on right now, and timely in terms of just something people are interested in, something that I'm interested in, and that I think that people would like to talk about it, or know or be about. All right. Um, I want this to be an interactive um, podcast, and so we'll be doing it live. We'll be doing it streaming. It'll be on YouTube where people can come in, chime in, and we can talk in the chat and things like that. But like I said, for this first one, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Eclipse, about Chris Black, and about like I said, the intent. Um, yeah, man. I'm a journalist, a black man in America, and I spell America with three K's, like Ice Cube in First Out America's Most Wanted, right? And that's just because of the the racist, exploitative, and racial history of this great country, which is America. But I spell it with three K's because the Constitution has the three-fifths clause that said black people are not really a whole human being, and it's still there. It may not still be in effect, but it still talks about two things: one, how important and integral to the history of this country black that the descendants of black Africans were kidnapped and enslaved and brought here to work for free for hundreds of years in a land of opportunity and immigrants and whatever, right? Made to work for free for 400 years uh, to develop this capital base. And I mean capital, I don't mean Washington, D.C., I mean capital in terms of finance and money. And that this country is built on it. This country revolves around. America's all about the money and ways to get money, to make money, and to have money. Wu-Tang Clan said it best, right? Cash rules everything around me. And that was true back when this country was founded. When we talk about Columbus coming over here, and they talk about 1776, 1492 to 1776. It's almost 300 years right there, from 1492 to 1776. 300 years of, like, not only say the Wild West exploitation, but it was like anything goes to make money, right? And to have money, and to get money, and to keep money, and to use money for power, and abroad, the Spanish Empire, the British Empire, all those things all founded on money. And a lot of times I think people try to distract from that, even though we talk about capitalism, but capitalism is just about money. We use fancy terminologies: finance, funding, uh, you know, anything that's got to do with economics, and they try to dress it up and make it sound fancy, but it just comes down to money. And money is basically currency, and currency is basically um what people use, the value that people put on the products that they need, the things, the products and services that they need and want, and the rate of exchange and how they can exchange it. I put this much value on it, would it be dollars, pounds, Deutschmarks, or whatever you want to have. It's all about money, and how things are valued, and how that valuation is paid out so people can profit, or rate it, or quantify it, and the things that it go. And so, the Eclipse Spotlight is going to be about that, but it's also going to be about issues and things, and about what's relevant to not just Black Americans, but people around the world: brown, black, brown, yellow, uh, orange, purple, green, just people, because we're all human beings, regardless. Um, and we're all human beings in this capitalist system. right? In this capitalist world. And that's what it's going to be about, right? And so I'll share my screen with you. But one of the things that I wanted to do this first topic is there were some topics that came up that I thought were interesting. And they were in had to do with law enforcement and police, had to do with uh, East Orange, New Jersey, place I covered as a reporter and editor for years, entertainment industry and money and finance, just things that make me go and then make me go, what's really going on with that, right? This, let me open this up. It's got the links and it's got the. Yeah, there was some really interesting things going on coming up that came up actually as I was looking for ideas for this inaugural 2025 inaugural edition of Eclipse Spotlight. Yeah. Get the Instagram, then we can get this going. For my trusty iPhone. Yeah. And if I can get Zoom, and I'll share my screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about, what's going on. Share this. This is an Instagram post. Rapper Ice-T, who I like, getting pulled over in North Bergen, New Jersey, for driving his unregistered car.
County Sheriff's Office. At first, everything appeared to be normal as a simple traffic stop, but things would soon escalate between the actor and the officer. You know, your registration expired since 2021. That's where I'm going. I'm headed right here. Decided. Well, yesterday, I went yesterday. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, registration been expired since 2021. Car's been parked. Are you sure? Yeah, I brought them to it. That's why I'm trying to get this car set up, bro. Yesterday I went to the DMV and they said this was down. So that's what you went to DMV yesterday. They said the system is down. Yesterday. That's expired. So you have your license expired as well. Sir, even if you're 1 feet, you cannot drive with an expired license, expired registration. I mean, you could follow me right to this garage, right here, right here. You don't gotta be that serious about this. Well, you don't have to. Well, is it serious? So, You said you have all the vehicles registered? I said like six, somebody. It's not. Me okay, sir. Officer called for backup. Ice-T appeared visibly angry, frustrated that the officer didn't give him another option to register his vehicle. He's going to be 90.130 miles.
Yeah, you know, you knew you was getting a ticket. You're supposed to be a former LA gangbanger, right? You knew when the cops started taking much time with you, you getting a ticket, my dude.
So, the bigger part here, jumped on the vehicle, and asked me, he came so close to me. He said, well, he called me an asshole. He said, give me all the paperwork right now. And everything's been recorded. And your vehicle's been towed. And it was even taken. Sir,
Right? I couldn't resist when I saw that. It was posted big up to Jersey Talks on Instagram, who I follow, and he always posts a lot of things that are relevant to Jersey. Ice-T, like a lot of famous and wealthy TV rappers, entertainment personalities, whatever, they live in New Jersey. He lives in New Jersey. And I guess he's driving in North Bergen, which is in Hudson County, above Jersey City, one of the areas that I live in and I work and I represent. And he got caught, he got caught riding, not dirty, but no license suspended, registration suspended, probably insurance on the car is probably suspended, and he's driving around the streets like that. And so on the one hand, you know, as a black man in America who has been driving while black most of the time that I'm driving in America, right? I've been driving because I've been black my whole life. Uh, you don't do that, right? Because you're probably gonna get caught, or it's high likelihood to get caught, you know. And so we as black men, we already know you like the typical suspect. And so Ice, light skinned dude that he is, what did Mason Cam call it? He got the complexion for the connection or whatever. It didn't work this time. But then also, once again, people get mad at celebrities and they think that they're better, or athletes, or anybody who thinks that they're better than the average person. Rich people too, because they figure the rules don't apply to them. But the cop was saying, man, I was just going to give him a ticket. But then he started getting all whatever with me. So now I'm going to give him a ticket, tow his car, and take him through the whole rigmarole because technically he was in the wrong. But then, so I can feel for Ice, thinking I'm not hurting anybody. But he plays a cop on TV, man. You play a cop on TV, and you know what cops do, right? You read them cop scripts, and you do cops. Plus, like I said, I don't know if you're the LA gangbanger, but you know a lot of LA gangbangers. You grew up in that culture out there on the West Coast. So you know how that happens, right? When the cops roll up and pop out on you, right? Talk about cats talk about popping out. Cops roll up and you know, and your stuff is not correct. This is how it goes down. So and ICE has been very successful, but to be so far removed from regular stuff, when you think you can run around, roll around like that, I'm going to the DMV. Then it makes you wonder. You know, let's say that he was actually going to the DMV. He was actually trying to do the right thing, get things done. You know, in Jersey, you can mail all that stuff in. You can mail your registration in. You can mail your license in. If you've been licensed for whatever, you don't even have to go to DMV anymore. You can do it online too, right? So his you know, argument that you know he was going to it's that kind of valid, but then kind of not valid because you even have to be in the car, dude. And then the other thing is, you're that you know because we assume celebrities, and he made records, he sold albums, that a TV show, he's probably getting paid, you know, 5, 6 digits per episode, right? Dude, his wife Coco had a TV show and she had a helper, LGBT two black dude who was running around helping her. Ice, you don't got nobody who could go and do or handle all this stuff for you. Your wife can't do it for you to handle all this regular people stuff, you know, like registration and insurance. Yeah, your agent, your tax attorney, somebody, right? Your business manager. There's nobody in your camp who handles this type of stuff so that you can do that celebrity stuff and just go out and jump in your car and go handle your business. Don't worry about it because you know somebody who's working for you is what I've handled it. So I don't know. So I'm not conflicted, but it is funny. And it's funny to me because, like I said, Ice plays a cop on TV. So come on, Ice was good, man. Right? I mean, you play a cop on TV and then you're interacting with the cop. And if you and my comment I left on the Jersey Talks post on Instagram was, you know, how would his character on the TV show Law and Order Crime, SVU, Special Victims Unit, how would his character have taken that if he rolled up on somebody like Ice-T in real life and he was that cop who was, you know, what would his character portrayal have been like in real life? And it probably would have been like that cops, right? So what the heck? What you doing, man? So that was one clip that came across my mind, right? As for this inaugural edition. Let me see what else that came up too. Yeah, it was not a good, I'm gonna say a good weekend, but it was interesting stuff that came up that caught my attention that I thought was both timely and relevant. And I wanted to share on this inaugural episode if I can get my laptop back. Right. Yeah, I'm a loyal to brands, right? And I'm loyal to the Gateway computer brand because it was always so reliable, right? And it lasts for years, unlike these other brands of laptop computers that you get them and they only last for like a year or two, then you got to get another one. But but these latest ones after they were brought and taken like I think by Acer, and they just relaunched the brand a couple of years ago because it was it was a market of people like me who want to use Gateway computer laptops. The they don't actually, it has not been the same, right? It has not been the same. It doesn't work. The battery is a little faulty. So I'm thinking about getting a new one, but a more reliable one. But we shall see how that goes. So here is the other thing. I'm going to share my screen again. Right, let's go to the Zoom meeting. Then I'm going to share again. And here we have the kickoff of the new toll hike for the Holland Tunnel in New York City. Once again on Jersey Talk. Yeah, I'm subscribed to these Jersey Talks and I follow you, so you do a lot of good content, my brother. You know, congestion relief zone, car toll $9.
All right, here we go.
Right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And so it's all set to kick in this weekend, which will be Monday when commuting, you know, when the regular commute starts again. So the irony, let me stop sharing that. Once again, the irony is congestion relief. So the idea to prevent congestion relief, which is so many people driving from New Jersey or coming through the Holland Tunnel, coming into Lower Manhattan, so many cars driving around Lower Manhattan streets, that is like congestion. It's like lots of traffic and loads and tons of traffic. And so they want to reduce the amount of traffic, and so they're going to put in a special fine. I'm gonna say a fine, but it is kind of a fine, right? Because fine sounds punitive, right? But they got an extra charge. You want to drive in Lower Manhattan? Now you got to pay this congestion fee, which is $9, and you come in through the tunnel. So that you have to pay to come from Jersey. Coming from New York into Jersey doesn't cost anything. It's free, right? You don't have to get charged anything. But if coming from Jersey through the Holland Tunnel across the George Washington Bridge, Lincoln Tunnel, there's a fee. I think it was $16 for cars coming through all the tunnels and across the bridges, $16. And for trucks, I think it's above, I'm not sure. It's got to be more than 25. I think, 35, 50. I'm not sure how much. But I know for cars, it was like 16. And now there's a congestion fine on top of that. So that would make it be like 25 beans coming back and forth between Holland Tunnel, Lincoln Tunnel. Well, it's really just Lower Manhattan. So it's not really the Lincoln Tunnel, just the Holland Tunnel, I believe. Because the Lincoln Tunnel is like what 36th Street is like a Midtown up, Midtown upper higher up because New York is an island, but Lower Manhattan's congestion was coming through the Holland Tunnel mostly, and there's an extra $9 tacked on. That's like $25 if we got to commute from Jersey through the Holland Tunnel coming in. That's another $9. That's like $25 a day. It's $125 a week, right? Which is funny because it seems like they're trying to price people out. We don't want you to drive. We want you to take the trains where you can get people can throw gasoline on you and burn you, or you can get choked out by ex-Marines or choked out and killed by ex-Marines who don't know how to control the level of violence they've been trained with, right? I had to defend myself. And I know how to, this guy who strangled to death the rider on the subway. And he got away with it, but he did not get indicted. I mean, he said it was self-defense and he didn't mean it. But come on, you're a Marine when they train you to kill and they teach you these moves, these chokeholds and stuff. But how you don't know what lethal force is? How you don't know the amount of lethal force when you're a trained Marine, right? So the amount of force you would use on a battlefield or in a life and death combat situation, is that what you use on a train in the world, in a civilian environment? Which apparently it is, right? And so he got the walk. But they want you to do that. They want you to ride on a train with guys like that, right? As opposed to driving your car. So to dissuade drivers or to reduce the number of drivers in the congestion in Lower Manhattan, they put a new tax in. I personally don't think that it's going to be as effective as it is. I mean, it's always, it'll generate more revenue for the city and for what is that called? Port Authority of New York, New Jersey, go through the tunnels. It'll generate more revenue because people will pay it. You're going to get taxed, and they've got counting cars. But the people who can afford to pay it, that $99 is not going to hurt them anyway. If I'm working on Wall Street, or if I'm some high finance dude or high priced lawyer, or some guy got some kind of nice high paying job that requires and demands me to drive into New York City through the Holland Tunnel and Lower Manhattan, I'm going to do it, right? It's another business expense. And so a lot of things, to me, it seems, we were talking before about cream and how casual is everything around me and how everything goes, and people will fear just gentrification. To me, this is not, I don't want to say it's another form of gentrification, but it's another form of just dissuasion, meaning if you can't afford to drive in, don't drive in, don't come in, right? And it's just not a class thing, but it's if you can't afford to, don't come here. We don't really want you. If you don't got enough money to drive through. If you got enough money, it ain't gonna hurt you anyway. And we want you anyway because you're gonna come here and spend and help the economy. But if you can't, then don't come, right? But people want to come because that's where their money and livelihood is. So it's interesting to see how it's going to work out. It's not controversial to me because it's just business. But once again, this is America with 3 Ks, right? Mace spells his name $. There's a reason for that, right? You can replace those 3 Ks with $3, America $, America $, right? And but that's what it's all about, the money. And so this is yet another example of the money and the consequences of it. Because in reality, just like Times Square now is like a pedestrian plaza, they really would like to see people biking and walking and using public transportation all up around, Lower Manhattan. It will help with the tourists, it help with a lot of things. and relieve the quote unquote congestion and whatever. But by the same token, dude, you don't got enough cops to protect people on the regular trains, on the trains right now. So you want me to ride on a train where so I could be falling asleep and somebody pour gasoline on me and burn me up, right? Or you happen to get into a verbal altercation on a packed train, right, with a lot of people and you're bumping and rubbing, and a guy can choke me to death, and it's okay. I don't know. MTA, New York, what's up? It don't seem like it's all about the people. It's about the dollar as always. All right. So that was another thing that caught my interest. Let me go back here again. There were like four or five things, but there's always more. I'm going to have I want to have a co-host. I'm hoping to recruit former Irvington Police Chief Michael Chase to be like my co-host, to be like my Ocho. I don't know. He's older than me, so he can't be Ocho, right? I don't want to be Club Shay Shay either, right? But my PNC, a partner in crime. But he's a cop. How can he be a partner in crime if he's a cop, right? so, so I don't know how that's going to work. But yeah, I would like to have him more, especially with some of this law enforcement stuff, to get his opinion and his views on behalf of the man, even though he's a black man. Oh yeah, this is a funny clip too that I saw on Instagram by a comedian, How High Davis, who I follow, right? This is funny. I thought it was funny, but it also, once again, it goes back to the law enforcement and like cops doing bad work. How Davis is pretty funny. It's one of the reasons why look at this clip. Starts with a girl, kind of sexy too, right? Jumping in the car. This bad police work. What was that cop thinking he's doing, right? He thought he was TJ Hooker. He tried to jump on the car. He's like some, the car hood side, and then he's on the ground. So he landed on the ground because he's hurt, or he landed on the ground because he's embarrassed because all these people out here didn't see him fly out the car. Let's watch it one more time. I tend to think is that he was embarrassed. And then he just stayed there. Right? So let me stop sharing. That is bad police work, right? We never want the cops to pull out the gun and start shooting using excessive force. But him trying to jump on the car, if he was jumping in the car, all right, but he jumps like tries to do like a hop on the car. I don't know what he thought he was doing. He wasn't on a hood, so it wasn't really hood jumping or hood thing like TJ Hooker was teaching Eddie Murphy in the movie with him and Robert De Niro, right? On how to do proper hood jumping or whatever. But he slid up the car. And so that was an example of bad police work. And then when he's laying there, my first thought when he laid there and the cop laid there on the ground, didn't get up was, because having worked with the cops, being a reporter and covering cops and an editor dealing with cops. And then also, like I said, knowing Chief Chase, who's a cop. When cops get hurt in the line of duty, they can get, injury pay and be off and still get paid for working because they got hurt in the line of duty, or they can retire, or all types of different things. So I'm sitting there thinking, is he on the ground? Is he really hurting, or is he just or embarrassed, or is he just milking it now because he got an excuse? Oh, she drove off. I'm hurt. I got to take 12 years off of work at taxpayers' expense because I just can't work now. So it makes me wonder, and that's why I have a law enforcement veteran like Chief Chase to run those questions by, because I'm pretty sure he's going to go, no, that's not what was going on, young man. He was trying to do whatever. He did not handle it properly, though, but, he was trying to do his duty. So I don't know. And like I said, it looks funny. And once again, cops, mixed relation, black man in America with 3 Ks, right? So cops and me, I don't know, right? Never have known, because you can take my freedom, we can't really be friends, right? And cops can take your freedom, and they have, right? That's the reason I hate that Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence movie Life. Because they thought it was like a joke, but it was the saddest joke ever I've seen, right? Two dudes, black dude's whole life get taken on some BS and they go down south. And it was sad. And it wasn't funny at all because there ain't no, going to jail ain't funny. Ain't no jokes about it. But then, that literally happened to black men a lot back in the day, not just black men, but all any people, right? For white people or any person, that can happen. Used to could happen, still can happen. Why not just ask Ahmaud Arbery? And then this let me share the screen. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Yeah, this here about Bobby Shmurda, rapper Bobby Shmurda, convicted criminal, released from jail, Bobby Shmurda. And he says it's on once again Jersey Talks, big up Jersey Talk. Principal Shmurda takes over for the day at East Orange High School. It's actually East Orange Campus High School in East Orange. Or it could have been Cicely Tyson School. Looking in the background, I think it looked like Cicely Tyson School, maybe, which was the Cicely Tyson School of Performing Arts. But and then can I hit this? Can I hit this? And go to the next picture. But there's a series of pictures of Bobby Shmurda. Yeah, that looks like That looks like Cicely Tyson School. Cicely Tyson School is a school of fine and performing arts named after the singer who was a East Orange resident, Cicely Tyson, legend. It's a nice school. I used to cover a lot of events there, graduations. Very nice place, state of the art facilities, right? Entertainment, sound booths and everything for the kids. And you got Bobby Shmurda, once again, convicted criminal, not even a hot rapper anymore, right? Because he's not hot. I mean, I guess he must be somebody because somebody got him hooked up to do this thing here at high school in East Orange. But the thing that got me about this is that I used to cover East Orange, and I covered East Orange at the time when under former mayor Robert Bowser, may he rest in peace. Naughty by Nature, if people don't know, I don't know, is Tretch, Vinrock, and KG. They're from East Orange. They're rappers. They're world famous rappers, right? MCs, hip hop artists, had hits, OPP, Uptown Anthem, right? Everything's gonna be all right, which I call AKA Ghetto Bastard. Hits, classic hip hop songs, world famous. Down with Queen Latifah and the what was the name of that? Oh, I don't remember what their squad was, but but they were that Flavor Unit, right? And a few years ago, back before the current mayor, Ted Green, became mayor, when Bowser was still mayor, members of Naughty by Nature came to the city of East Orange and the Board of Education of East Orange and said, hey, we want to do a music mentorship program, right? We've been successful in the industry, and now we want to come and teach kids from the community, the city where we're from, who were just like us when we were coming up, who have interest in talent and music and entertainment. We want to show them the business and show them that even if they're not out front as artists, they can still make money being producers, production, anything, right? Engineers. And they wanted to do that. And they actually donated equipment to the district to get it done. But they shut them down. They wouldn't let them do it, right? I don't know if it was Bowser per se, because technically the mayor of East Orange does not run the Board of Education. You have the president of the Board of Education, but everything is politics in Jersey. And so the Board of Ed, I'm not sure if it was appointed by the mayor or not back then, but or if they had an election. But still, it's affiliated with the mayor, so the powers that be, which be the mayor and whoever else. And they just said no. And for me to be able to remember that, right? And I thought that would have been a great thing. And you got these guys and from the city, from the tough part of the city too, a real rags rich success story in terms of Tretch and Vin Rock. KG2, but KG might have been, I guess, maybe came from the best family background of them all, of the trio. But in terms of stable family, nuclear family, mom, dad, whatever. And they want to do something good, right? And give back. And they just said no because, oh, you're rappers and and allegedly this and allegedly that, right? And nobody's been to jail, nobody's, got any criminal records from the Naughty by Nature. And they wouldn't let them do it, And then now you fast forward, once again, I guess it's a change of regime, because you got Ted Green in there now, who's a hip hop generation kid, Mayor Green. But you got Bobby Shmurda. You let Bobby Shmurda come to your school, but you wouldn't let Naughty by Nature do a mentorship program. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So much so that I put posts on here. And I said, who approved this? Right? It's really crazy and slightly offensive to me, right? Because how could, Bobby Shmurda, who ain't even hot no more in my, not to diss Bobby Shmurda, right? But I'm just saying, somebody with a connection or somebody who knows somebody got him the chance to be in there, and so he got approved to do this. But Naughty by Nature couldn't get approved to do that, right? That's crazy to me, right? That's why I texted Vin Rock, and but he was once again being the Vin Rock kind of dude that he is and that he was, who was trying to actually get some of that mentorship program done. He was very diplomatic about it and very understanding, saying, "Oh, it seemed like the kids enjoyed it." It's based off seeing a post and stuff that I shared with him, and he wasn't mad and he was not bitter about it at all. I'm more bitter than he's bitter, right? But or something he's upset. But still, yes, the kids probably enjoyed it. But really, Bobby Shmurda, right? Is he bigger than Naughty by Nature? Right? Has he sold more records and albums? Has he had more impact on the culture than Naughty by Nature? I don't think so. Right? And yet he gets to run around the school, be the principal. But you wouldn't let not you, but the powers that be at that time. And it just shows to me how, times change, sometimes for the better, but then sometimes in weird ways, right? Because it's just crazy. At the Cicely Tyson School, no less, because I think this is what it is. It looks like the Cicely Tyson School to me. I'm not sure. But that hallway, that connecting hallway, it did not look like Campus High School. Because Campus High School is the former college that used to be in East Orange. I can't remember the name of the college, but the college went out of business, and the district board of the school made it a high school. This would really be like a college kid, literally college campus, like high school. So it doesn't look like that. Doesn't look like the background, but it looks like Steve Tyson School to me. So I'm not sure, but still, right? Yeah. So and I ain't mad. But the good thing about that was I did, text Vinny, and he was like, "Yo, there's more good things to come. We still on the job. We still got things coming up." And so I like that because it showed that yeah, but then once again, why these good dudes who are from this town who try to represent for their community and for their people and the fan base too. And they were, back in the day with that generation of leadership in the city of East Orange, they just wouldn't let them do it for whatever reason. The negative connotations of hip hop, rapper, and make that kind of music, and we just like jazz and Cicely Tyson, right? But now things are different, and it's okay for Bobby Shmurda to come through, right? Not that Bobby Shmurda is a bad dude or bad influence or anything at all. I just thought it was real crazy, you know, just really ironic in a bad way. So I wanted to talk about that and say that. But that's kind of what the Eclipse Spotlight is going to be. It'll be stuff like that, things that I come across from social media and genuine life. But then there's also going to be issues and stuff. Because I am a journalist. I am a publisher. I got the website www.eclipse.biz. Related social media. It's Chris Black. Everything is C5 Black 25. I publish the website, but then also Showtime Record, Greater New York News, right? And I want to do a New York paper too, right? But I can't. I haven't come up with a name for New York yet. I think I have, but I can't. It doesn't come in mind right now. But because publishing, but it would be more like, why don't you be a newsletter? Really, it'd just be a like blast and be related, and it'd be online, something like that, because it already exists. Because publishing, when you do a publishing business, printing up the actual paper is the biggest expense of publishing, traditional publishing, newspaper, magazine publishing, printing up the actual physical product is thing. But in this information media age, where everybody gets their information through their phones and digitally, you don't have to print anymore. So you can potentially reach more people, make more money. Well, if you get enough advertisers, for the business model for publishing is still the same, right? With ads, all ad driven, right? Especially with gambling being involved now. So yeah, you need gambling websites, you want to look for somebody to sponsor in Jersey, right? Soprano Town, right? Jersey Devil, Eclipse, baby. Trying to see what we got. But yeah, it's going to be about that. Like I said, I came across a lot of different stories in my time as being a reporter and editor. Things that I couldn't, well, not that I couldn't, but I didn't get to go in as much depth as I wanted to or couldn't because, I'm working for different publishers. And I was working for like a Republican people too. And so they had a conservative bent. And I made a promise that I would never get them sued, right? Even though we came close, right? There's a lot of litigious people and I had a lot of ops, but I wouldn't do anything to get them sued, to, deliberately just provoke people into suing just to refer those lawsuits like that. But that ain't the case no more, right? Which is why I went out on my own to do Eclipse and GNN, right? And Showtown, right? So I'm going to be saying some things and doing some things and yeah, and just, exploring some things because there's a lot of things I want to discuss it in depth. And so even if I can't get the official Law and Order version of Chief Chase to jump on it, now maybe some other invited guests, but I will be putting this stuff out there for the public consumption, right? Even then, the irony is I'm not really a big feedback dude. I do things that are interesting to me, so I'm not really concerned about public approval or mass appeal, right? Because I don't think that most people think or like the stuff that I do anyway. I just do what I think is interesting to me, and I want to be timely and relevant with it. And so that's what I'm going to be doing, right? So this was the first kickoff event. I mean, clip, see my background logo right there, right? That was a design by a kid I work with the Jersey Journal, right? Mark Carpena, Carpena, Mark Carpena, right? That was a good design. That's my personal logo, but he did me another corporate one too. You see that too. And but yeah, it's gonna be Eclipse, baby. That's what it's about, right? Darkness to light, light to darkness. We will talk about that too. All right. So, thank you. See you later. Bye bye. Bye bye.